Let's go. We got him signed, sealed, and delivered. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. 49ers, Jauan Jennings signed to a 2-year contract extension. Man, let's go. Drop your SDSs in the chat. Smash that like button if you are hyped on this news. We're going to react to it all. We're going to talk about the details, what it means for other players like Brandon Ayuk, potentially CMC, all those different. We're going to talk about it all. We got OTAs live right now in Santa Clara. Jauan Jennings here for 2 more years. Let's freaking go. Smash that like button. SDS in the chat. You know the vibes. Let's get it all right now. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. Sourdough Squad, what is really good? What is really good, though? Man, we've got big time news. And I think I could speak for a lot of 49er fans that might be a little bit surprised to see not Brandon Ayuk get a contract extension, but Jauan Jennings Inc., a 2-year extension that will have him on the San Francisco 49ers through 2025. You love to see it, but of course, shout out to the SDS. Today's a good day. It was a good day when we just found out from Matt Mayoko that Jauan Jennings was in the building. Like, first of all, we're like, oh, Jauan is there. That's good news. But what's going to happen next? Because he, per that report, about 15 minutes before the news actually dropped, we were like, well, has he signed his exclusive rights tender yet? And they said, no. They said, no. Well, we're not going to sign the exclusive rights tender. We're not going to make you a free agent at the end of the 2024 season. We are going to sign you for a 2-year deal, as you can see from Chili in the chat. 2-year deal worth up to $15.4 million. And I think the sweetest part about all this, because when we look at these deals and the first numbers that come across, there's a lot of stuff to weed through, and we're still going to get through, some of the information. But you see right there, $10.5 million guaranteed over the next 2 years. We will get into the details a little bit more to understand a little bit better about what the details are. But nonetheless, a situation that kind of popped up, surprised us a little bit. Like, oh, Jauan Jennings could be up for a new deal. And there was some murmurings, there was some whispers, there were some talks being discussed about a potential contract extension for Jauan last season. Well, it wasn't able to get done before training camp, but we get it done in OTAs, and we get Jauan paid. Let's go. Now, obviously, there are some potential other players that need to get paid as well, but this is a step in the right direction. It'll be interesting to see what this impact of this contract will have on Brandon Ayuk, if any at all. I would say that there wouldn't be a whole lot, but again, we'll have to see. But, Jauan Jennings, man, proud. I'm happy for him. Like, I couldn't imagine, going through an off season where you don't really know what's going to happen. You don't know if you're going to get an extension. You don't know if you're going to be forced to sign this exclusive rights tender, and what's it going to be? And then the crazy part about Jauan too is when you look at what he did, in season last year, he didn't get a ton of opportunities just because we understand what it is. There are so many mouths to feed in this 49ers offense. There's just you've got Deebo Samuel, you've got Brandon Ayuk, you have Christian McCaffrey, you've got, of course, George Kittle. So Jauan Jennings finds himself, in an interesting situation where he only got 33 targets in the regular season, 19 receptions, 265 yards, and 1 touchdown in the regular season. But I mean, the impact in the postseason was on full display. And I feel like what Jauan did in the postseason is perfectly emblematic of his impact to this team, right? Because we call him third and Jauan for a reason. He isn't going to be that guy on the San Francisco 49ers who's going to command 100 targets. It's just not going to happen. But this is a guy who takes full advantage of every single target that goes his way. I mean, throughout the postseason, he was 10 of 13. And we saw he probably should have been MVP of the Super Bowl. So the San Francisco 49ers, and again, Jauan Jennings is, I talked about this on a previous video that I made of when he got signed. But when I look at Jauan Jennings, I look at a guy who is a glue guy. When you're talking about a locker room guy, an energy guy, an on the field pick me up type guy, listen, man, it gets hairy out there sometimes. Bullets are flying, you get behind, the pressure, anxiety can build up. I look at Jauan Jennings as a guy who can cut through that tension with his energy. I just really see him as a guy who not only uplifts his teammates with his energy, but then you watch him play, and you're watching Jauan Jennings blocking 20, 30 yards downfield, and he's just the ultimate team player. And for a guy who was a 7th round draft pick in 2020, number 217th overall out of Tennessee, he plays like that. He plays like nothing is guaranteed to him. He plays like he has to earn everything, every single snap. And that's why he has become a fan favorite. I don't think it's a stretch at all to say that Jauan Jennings is a fan favorite. He's probably one of the most, I wouldn't say up and coming, because we know who Jauan Jennings is. We've known who he is since he was a rookie. He's made plays since he was a rookie. But I would say he's up there. He is up there with your main stars with in regards to this fan base. This fan base loves Jauan. They love the way he plays. They love the way he goes about his business. And he gets, listen, it's not a 3-year, $75 million deal like Nico Collins just got yesterday. But listen, Nico Collins had 80 receptions, over 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns. There's a reason why Nico Collins got that amount. But, I mean, that's pretty solid. That's pretty solid. Honestly, Cap says, not going to lie, I'm shocked by this. Thought Jennings was a trade candidate. We had talked about this throughout the offseason in regards to the Brandon Ayuk situation, because obviously we're over here just watching. I just mentioned it. Nico Collins get a big chunk of change. I believe it was $52 million guaranteed over his 3-year deal. And we're waiting for, and we're thinking Brandon Ayuk, at least on a per year average, I would say the sweet spot is $28 million. I would imagine they'll want to front load the deal. They want to get the money up front. But we'll see what that ultimately looks like when it's all said and done. But yeah, I think we were all just waiting for Jauan Jennings, or excuse me, Brandon Ayuk to get paid. I don't think it really entered any of our minds that Jauan Jennings was even going to be up for a potential extension, I guess you could say. I don't know if it's necessarily an extension because he was unsigned. But for him to get this contract amidst the whole Brandon Ayuk situation, again, it speaks to the talent that the 49ers have been able to compile. I mean, getting Jauan Jennings in the 7th round, again, it continues to emphasize that the 49ers have been able to be extremely successful in the later rounds. But again, we thought there was a potential kind of bottleneck with the cap situation with Brandon Ayuk potentially getting paid. Well, that still remains to be seen. Where we actually were talking about Jennings as being a cap casualty because it did feel like he was ultimately going to have to be forced to sign the tender, and that would make him a free agent in 2025. He's now signed through 2025, gets $10.5 million guaranteed, and now it's going to be very interesting to see how this ultimately impacts Brandon Ayuk, if it impacts him at all. So, nonetheless, I'm excited about this news. I think this is, obviously when the 49ers drafted Ricky Pearsall and Jacob Cowing, it kind of felt like, oh, maybe this is maybe the last year with Jauan Jennings, because obviously the 49ers have a ton of wide receivers right now. Your top 3 guys are Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, Jauan Jennings. Behind them are the guys that we assume are going to make the roster, and Ronnie Bell, Ricky Pearsall, and Jacob Cowing. And then you have guys like Danny Gray, who's fighting for a spot. Chris Conley's fighting for a spot. Trent Taylor, Tay Martin, and Tariq Owens are all fighting for a potential 7th spot in that 49ers wide receiver room. But it's going to be up to those guys to force the 49ers hand into keeping 7 wide receivers. So with this situation playing out the way it has, I mean, Deebo Samuel was, mentioned in trade rumors along with Brandon Ayuk. They're both still here. Jauan Jennings is locked up. You've got a second-year player in Ronnie Bell, 2 rookies in Pearsall and Cowing, and a third-year guy in Danny Gray, who's trying to earn a roster spot. So, I mean, when you look at the 49ers wide receiver room, I think this is the most robust it has ever been. Do you agree that this is the deepest, most talented wide receiver room that we've had? Like, I think back to maybe the 2019 season when they traded for Emmanuel Sanders. You had a rookie Deebo Samuel. You had Kendrick Bourne on the roster. Dante Pettis was still on the squad back in 2019. But I'm going through trying to recall. I think this is the deepest we've been. Obviously we have some rookies coming in, but I think we have some high expectation for those rookies. So this begs the question: are the San Francisco 49ers going to come out slinging it in 2024? Are they going to come out slinging the rock? Is it Brock Purdy time? I mean, we got all these weapons locked down. So, is it time? Is it time to evolve a little bit? Maybe develop more of a drop back passing type offense where you implement more 3 wide receiver sets. I mean, Brock Purdy can do it. I don't think there's one person in this chat right now, um, across all platforms right now. We have about 670 people watching this stream. I don't think one person would disagree that Brock Purdy can shoulder more of a load, and we can take an offense that was last in passing attempts last year and at least get to middle of the pack in regards to passing attempts. Obviously, the 49ers efficiency was a huge reason why they were at the bottom. They were ultra efficient and they were knocking out teams by the third quarter. So they didn't need to pass all that much. But I would have to imagine that when you look at this offense, how it's constructed, and the weapons that you're building around Brock Purdy, who, again, they're at this time last year, guys. I just love this. I love this. At this time last year, we didn't know if Brock Purdy was going to be our quarterback. Right now, this time last year, Trey Lance was the San Francisco 49ers starting quarterback because we had no freaking clue how Brock Purdy was going to rebound from UCL surgery on his throwing elbow. Literally a calendar year ago, we didn't know. We were like, I don't know. A year ago, Kyle Shanahan told Brock Purdy, hey, we might bring in Tom Brady because, it's Tom Brady. And we're going to bring in Sam Darnold. And it was revealed later that Sam was told that he had the opportunity to win the job in preseason. This is from Sam Darnold directly. He said that he was told that he could have won the starting quarterback job if he came out and did it in preseason. He was told that Brock Purdy had done enough the previous season to maintain QB1 status throughout training camp, but the competition really would heat up in the preseason. Well, guess what? Brock Purdy, against all odds of coming back from UCL surgery, told, hey, we might go after Tom Brady. Tom Brady said, nah, I'm good. And then we're like, all right, we'll bring in Sam Darnold. You'll have a competition. And he is now, dude, Brock Purdy's got to be one of the most youngest, like, battle tested quarterbacks we've seen in a while. Like, and I'm talking about the adversity side of things. Thrown into the fire, in the situation that he was as a rookie, and then coming back from the surgery and just like making sure he was ready to go for week 1, and then slowly progressing throughout the year. I'm hyped, man. I'm hyped for Brock. I'm hyped for everything that he can do and to continue to build with weapons around him like this. Oh yeah, it feels good. Oh yeah, and we got some video too of Jauan Jennings out here at practice. So let's take a look at our newly inked wide receiver, Jauan Jennings, courtesy of NBC Sports Authentic. And we got Big JJ in the building. Woo! Let's go. Let's go. File this under things you love to see. Absolutely. This is great. Well, we are off to a great start for today's OTA practice. And I made a video about Jauan's offseason training actually just yesterday. I posted it on the channel, and you could see he's working his tail off. He was working with one of the best wide receiver trainers in the world, and he wasn't taking any time off. So Jauan has been working, and here we got him. Look at him, man. Let's go. It's time to air that thing out, ladies and gentlemen. I'm ready for it. I am absolutely ready. Let's go. I love it. Let's keep the good news, the good energy flowing around the San Francisco 49ers. Now, I guess one question, I've seen it in the chat a couple times, and I'll pose it to the chat. Do you think that this means that we're not paying Brandon Ayuk? Do you think that this signing has any implication on Brandon Ayuk? I'm very curious to see what you guys think in the chat. I would like to see your answer to this question because I personally don't think that this has any direct impact on Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk's negotiations have been going on independent of this negotiation the entire time. So I personally don't think it was like you can have one guy, you can have Brandon Ayuk or you can have Jauan Jennings. Take your pick. And the 49ers are like, "Oh, we'll take Jauan Jennings." I personally don't see it that way. I still think BA's situation again is independent of all these other things. But hey, I will say that I can't say with 100% certainty that that is actually the case, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. My only stipulation with Brandon Ayuk right now is that I just hope it gets done before the start of training camp. I hope BA can go through an entire training camp. We can get him on the field, working with Purdy, working with Pearsall and Cowing, getting him into the mix. I don't think he's going to show up out of shape. He's literally been working all offseason. So I don't think that is an issue. But I think we all are hesitant for training camp holdouts after the last two. I think as fans of the team, you want to see everyone out there. You want to see everyone together participating, and I think that would make for the best situation. Now, I've seen it mentioned in the chat that post June 1st is coming around. The reason why June 1st is an important date is because Eric Armstead was a post June 1st release, meaning that those savings for releasing Eric Armstead don't become official until June 1st, meaning the 49ers can't realize though that $18 million in cap savings until post June 1st. So we are very close to June 1st. And then we have mandatory minicamp start on June 4th. So obviously, all eyes are on mandatory minicamp because it's mandatory. So if guys like CMC aren't there today, I'm looking in the background. I see the running backs doing running back drills. I'm trying to see. I see Elijah Mitchell. I see Jordan Mason. So no signs of CMC yet. I haven't seen anyone report anything on that. But I would say next week is going to be a big week in regards to those two players. So we are going to have to see. Let's take a look. Jauan Jennings' reaction right after he signed. Hopefully y'all can hear this. We'll see. Maybe not. 49ers posted this to their social media page.
What's up, JJ?
It's possible.
Hey! How you doing, man?
What? You should know, baby. Unbelievable. Work put into these years, man. Knowing it paid off.
What's up, JJ?
It's possible. Hey!
How you doing, man?
What? You should know, baby. Unbelievable. Work put into these years, man. Knowing it paid off.
What's up, JJ?
It's possible. Hey!
How you doing, man?
Yay!
What? You should know, baby. Unbelievable.
God, it must be the DAP is immaculate, first of all. But it must be so relieving to get this portion of your career over with. It's just like, from everything that I've seen of like covering contract negotiations, boy, it seems stressful. It seems super stressful. So you gotta be happy for guys like Jauan to be able to put this behind them and just focus on ball. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's pretty awesome, man. Pretty awesome. Larry says we stole him. Ooh. All right, let's grade the chat. Let's get the chat involved. Let's do instant grade of the Jauan Jennings deal. I want to see your letter grades in the chat. Obviously, highest F plus. You want to drop an F minus if you absolutely hate it. I doubt we'll see any of those unless you are a troll. But let me see your grades of this deal. And again, a reminder of what it ultimately came out to. It was a 2-year deal worth up to $15.4 million, including $10.5 million guaranteed to retain the rights of Third and Jauan throughout 2025, when he was expected to be a free agent at the end of the 2024 season if he had just signed. His was around $4 million. So the 49ers, if they didn't do this, were going to be on hook for about $4 million, I believe. So it's a nice raise. Deserving. And when we look at the chat so far, grades look good. Looks like everyone's pretty pleased. A could have been Super Bowl MVP. B plus, A plus, A plus. Yeah, absolutely. I think anything. I think we're all positive. Karen says all positive comments say how much he is well liked. Yeah, it's been one of the biggest things that I've been able to notice with Jauan. Obviously, I feel like I have such a great read of our fan base because I interact with so many of you guys every single day. So I feel like it's really easy for me to judge who you like, who you don't like, who you think needs to be better, all those different types of things. And right now, I would say the most ascending players within the 49ers fan base is Jauan Jennings and Diamador Lenore. Those two guys feel like the next two to jump into that like unanimously loved tier of the 49ers. So, and again, you can kind of see based on the grades, some of the comments, everyone's hyped off of it. And again, JJ is family. You get him for a, I would say, a pretty solid deal. All right. And just like that, Christian McCaffrey and Brandon Ayuk are not present for OTAs. How do we feel about that? Are we concerned? Again, Christian McCaffrey has kind of come into focus as of late because he's not at OTAs, and a huge storyline. I wouldn't say a huge storyline, but a feel good storyline of last year's OTAs was the fact that not only was Christian McCaffrey participating in OTAs, but he was going like 100 miles an hour, which, a lot of the players talked about was picking up, everyone else to see a guy like that out there performing. So CMC and Brandon Ayuk not in the building today. I agree with this 100%. Got two guys that I'm absolutely not worried about not being at OTAs from a, performance standpoint is Brandon Ayuk and Christian McCaffrey. So we'll see. Well, again, I think someone said it in the chat as well. We'll have a much better idea around training camp, and then we can go from there. But as it stands right now, I think we're feeling pretty good about it. I think we're feeling pretty good about it. So me personally, again, I'm not a cap expert or even close to it. I just kind of like follow up on the trends and stuff, but I'm not worried about either of those two and their long-term future with the San Francisco 49ers until we're told it's time to worry. As it stands right now, there's nothing that to me that I've seen that's been indicative of CMC having an issue or even Brandon Ayuk for that matter. So I think as it stands right now, we're par for the course. Par for the course, and we'll continue to monitor the situation as we always do with everything. And again, that will lead us up to our ultimate goal, which is to get everyone signed, sealed, and delivered and ready to go. So good news today. Good news today. Obviously, like I just mentioned to you, no CMC, no Ayuk. I'm not in panic mode, not even close in regards to either one of those two. But again, just like everything, we just have to pay attention and watch what's going on. But super, super happy about the developments of today. Getting Jauan Jennings paid, that's one thing we can check off the list of our off-season to-do list. That's one of them, and we can check it off. Now, obviously, Brandon Ayuk. Hopefully, there's no other contract negotiations going on that we don't really know about. So we'll see. I mean, I really can't. I don't know. I can't think of anyone who would be requiring a contract. But we shall see. The Chiefs off season reminds me of the 49ers off season. I think when it was like, when was it? I don't know. We've had multiple off seasons that have been stressful in that the off season category portion of it. But oh, good times. So I just wanted to come on here, instant reaction to the Jauan Jennings news, 2-year deal, $10.5 million guaranteed, and he's at practice. It's phenomenal. So really excited about this development that we have right now. Make sure you smash that like button, turn on post notifications, because the second any news drops or we go live, you already know we're going to be all over it. Appreciate all you guys for tapping in today. But I'll probably be back on later. After practice, we're going to hear from some coaches and some players as well, I think in about 15 minutes. So practice is a wrap. We'll hear from them, and then we'll kind of come back together when it's all said and done and recap everything that has gone down today. Shout out to all you guys, as always, for tapping in. Grab your cookies per usual. And Niners just went live. Perfect. I'm going to hop over there. I'll see you guys over there as well. Peace. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to